And welcome back to the show, everybody. So excited about our next guest and very honored to have two-time Masters champion Bernhard Langer with us now, a man who has really defied age. He's 67 years young. He'll be teeing it up again this week at the Gallery Classic Rancho Mirage, California at gorgeous Mission Hills Country Club. That's Friday through Sunday on PGA Tour Champions. And he joins us now. Bernhard, great to see you, sir. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking, Doug. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. It's always good to see you. I always enjoy talking to you from time to time on PGA Tour Champions. You inspire me as you inspire so many others. There's no other athlete, Bernhard, in any other sport that is still playing competitively, still winning at the age of 67. I marvel at that. What is the secret? Do you know why you're so effective here at 67 when other players and golfers are not?
No idea, but it must be good genes and probably working out and having still the drive to be practicing. And I love to compete on the Champions Tour. It's really a wonderful tour to be out and play against these guys.
You know, it is interesting because with all that you have accomplished in your incredible Hall of Fame career, and you have a beautiful family, and yet at 67 you still have this drive to win. To me, that is fascinating. And I guess we talked physically, you're blessed, but mentally, how do you stay so focused now at 67? I mean, it seems to me you're as driven now as you were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Is that accurate?
Almost, yeah. I mean, I spend more time recuperating and taking time off a little bit more, and just my body needs it. But I still enjoy competing and playing at a very high level against my peers. It's a wonderful tour to be out on the Champions Tour. I've worked very hard to, have access to it in the past, and now I can enjoy playing and picking some of the best tournaments.
You know, you've won every year since you turned 50. Now 67. I finished second at Wailea, the first event of the year, and obviously you're headed for another victory at some point this season, maybe this week. How proud are you of being the all-time winningest player on PGA Tour Champions? Again, you've won everywhere, and you've won so many times now, the all-time record. How proud are you of what you've accomplished at PGA Tour Champions?
I think it's always fun to do something that nobody's done before. So, whenever you win more tournaments or more majors or at an older age or whatever it may be, it's unique, it's special, and it means something. And that's what we practice for. We practice for the big tournaments, for the big occasions. And in golf, it's such a finicky game. You win some and you lose some. I mean, I've probably had as many seconds and thirds as I've had wins over my career. But when you look at Jack Nicklaus, for instance, 18 majors, he's had 18 seconds, I think, or 19 majors as well. So it's a wonderful game, and you compete with great people.
47 wins is the all-time record. You passed Hale Irwin. To me, that's astonishing. It really is. And, it's funny, on PGA Tour Radio or CBS Sports when I'm talking golf, and obviously we focus a lot on the PGA Tour guys, Scotty Scheffler and Rory and the rest. And I always tell people what you're accomplishing, I think more should be made of it. I mean, and I know that's not your personality, but I think more should be made of what you're still doing at 67. I think it's amazing.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's not easy. When I first joined this tour, I looked at some of the statistics, and they showed that most players win between the age of 50 and 55, and then it drastically drops off. And when you turn 60, you don't have a chance anymore, basically. That's how it was when I came out. And, well, we've proven that wrong. There's been a bunch of guys in their 60s who are still doing extremely well and still winning. And I think that's going to continue as the players seem to stay healthier and fitter and look forward to competing out here.
And yeah, you came back so quickly from the torn Achilles heel. You popped it playing, pickleball. And I know Aaron Rodgers in the NFL and Kirk Cousins, a couple of quarterbacks, still wondering how you did it so fast. And of course, Tiger, I don't know if Tiger's called or not, but how did you bounce back so quickly? Because that injury, that is a very tough one, especially as you get older. That Achilles, it's always tight. How did you bounce back so quickly from that?
Yeah, it is a very tough injury, and I really didn't know what I was facing. But I talked to actually Aaron Rodgers and a couple other people who had it, and I was told it takes at least 6 months to a year, maybe more, to come back from it. But they've got a little better at the surgeries nowadays, and I didn't have to put my leg in a cast, so I was able to rehab from immediately 2 days after surgery. I had surgery on Saturday. I was in rehab on Monday, and obviously not sprinting or doing anything. I couldn't walk for weeks, but at least you're moving and you're not losing all the muscle and all the tissue and the strength. So I was also fortunate that I'm playing on the Champions Tour where they allow us to use golf carts. I could drive because I wasn't able to walk. It's funny, but when you think about it, I was able to play golf, actually hit the ball as hard as I could, but I couldn't walk 18 holes. It was impossible in the early stages. And I still struggle walking 18 holes at this point, a year later. But it helped me to ride in a cart, drive up to my ball, make a swing or two, hit the ball, and get back in the golf cart. So my walking was very limited, which helped me to be out here competing.
Yeah, and you came back and won that Charles Schwab at the end of 2024, which some people are saying is still, I mean, we keep using the word amazing, but for you to win at the end of the year, I know you were very, very proud of that. Hey, take us back now. It's interesting. I love your looking at your career because in 1986, and we talk about the world rankings now all the time, and Scotty Scheffler has been up there now for 2 years or whatever the case may be. But in 1986, when the official world golf rankings came out, you were the first guy to be number one in the world. Take us back. Was that a big deal at the time?
I think it's always a big deal, certainly amongst my peers, or it used to be. I don't know how the young guys look at it, but whenever you're ranked number one in whatever you're doing, whether it's in tennis or any sport or even in your job, if you're number one in the world, that says something, that means something. That means you're doing very well. And yes, I was very happy, very pleased and proud of it to have been there, even though it was only a few weeks. I was lingering in the top 3 or top 5 for many years, and it was difficult in the game of golf to determine who is the best because we play all over the world. There's several tournaments happening at the same time, but I think the system got improved and tweaked on, and it's certainly helpful.
And that was an amazing time in professional golf as those rankings came out. Seve was still a force, and of course Nick Faldo, quite a few of the Europeans, had Fred Couples and others on the American circuit. I mean, it was Greg Norman. I mean, that was a phenomenal time. And then, of course, take us back 1 year previous, 1985, that first Masters. And again, in my mind, the 85 followed by the 86 was the best 2 years back-to-back Masters I can ever remember. And you birdie 4 of your last 7. You go 68 on the weekend, and you beat back Seve, Raymond Floyd, who was playing at a really high level then, and Curtis Strange. That was another guy who was vying for number one at the time. You beat those guys by 2 shots. Take us back 1985, Bernhard. What do you remember most about 85?
Well, I remember playing some pretty good golf the first 2 days, but not brilliant. And I believe I switched out my set of irons, totally new set of irons, which was crazy in a way. And I usually don't have an extra set of irons with me, but I had asked for one the weeks before and practiced with it on the range at Augusta. And I thought, well, let's just try them. I was hitting them good on the range. I thought, that's just what I have to lose. I made the cut. I need a couple of good rounds. And I played really good on the weekend. What I remember is I was 2 behind on the first tee on Sunday and played with Seve, and said we hit our tee shots, and Seve comes over to me and says, Bernhard, let's make sure one of us wins. A European needs to win this, not Floyd or Curtis Strange behind us. So that was how it started off. And after 9 holes, I actually was 4 behind Curtis Strange. He played very well. I played solid, but he played great. And then, so I decided to just go for everything on the back 9, and was fortunate to make 5 birdies the next 8 holes on the back 9. And I didn't just catch Curtis. He ran into some trouble with water on 13 and 15, I think. I passed him by 2, and I birdied 17, looked at the leaderboard, and I saw that I had a two-shot lead. And Sevi again comes over to me, walking to the 18th tee, puts his hand around on my shoulder and says, "Bernhard, this is you. You're a champion. You deserve this. So, go get it. You got it." And I said, I'm thinking, Sevi, I still got one of the hardest holes in golf to play, but it was a very nice gesture.
Wow, I get goosebumps as you tell me that story. The great Seve Ballesteros, the late great Seve. Take us to 86 though, because you, after Jack has that incredible performance, you actually put the green jacket on him, and in that ceremony you can hear Jack say, "Thank you, Bernhard," as you put it on him. What was that moment like to be there when Jack accomplished this magnificent feat at 46?
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, it had to be extremely emotional for Jack, having his son on the back, and after not having played very well the previous months, to win a 6 green jacket, unbelievable. And so it was in a way special for me, because I met Jack when I was 16 years old. He came to Munich to play an exhibition match, and I was invited to play with him. And now, kind of 20 years later, or 22 years later, whatever it was, I'm putting the green jacket on him. That's pretty cool. I was, very happy for him and his family, and pleased to be witnessing history in the game of golf, which was certainly written when he won his 6th green jacket.
Yeah, and then of course, moving ahead to 93, you were still a dominant player then. You had a 4-shot lead after 54 holes. You're playing with Chip Beck in the final group. I was there that year, and I remember it was rainy like crazy. I think you guys had to finish the second round on Saturday morning, if I remember correctly. But you go on to win by 4 shots. That's about as comfortable a victory as anybody could have at the Masters. Would you agree?
Yes, if you have a 4-shot lead coming up 18, that should be enough. I didn't always have a 4-shot lead. I started off with 4, and it dwindled down to 1 with 9 to go, but played the back 9 fairly solid, and a couple of my opponents made some mistakes. So I stood on 18 with a 4-shot lead, and I figured even I can handle that. And really, it was different. I could really enjoy walking up 18 and didn't have to focus like, 7 years earlier or 8 years earlier when I won my first Masters.
Wow. And this year, 2025, this will be the last time you play at the Masters, right?
Yes, that's the plan. I was hoping to do it last year, but then I hurt my Achilles, so we postponed it 1 year. This will be my final test around the golf course as a competitor in the Masters.
Is that, Bernhard, is that
It's going to be bittersweet, yeah. The competitor I am, and that's what I have done for 50 years now. Play professional golf, and to say goodbye to maybe the most memorable tournament in my career is difficult. But I take solace in it that I will continue to go to the Masters and maybe play the Par 3, be there at the Past Champions dinner, and be there for my sponsors, enjoy the tournament with my family and my friends. So I look forward to that in the future.
Can you take us inside? And you get asked this a lot, but the Past Champions dinner, I mean, you are now a member of one of the smallest fraternities in all of professional sports, those who have won the green jacket. Oh my goodness, that dinner never gets old, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's always one of the highlights of every year. We're all excited about what food is served. More importantly, really, just the camaraderie in the room, to spend a couple hours with other past champions and share some stories and make some new friends, learn more about them, and just acknowledge how blessed we are to be, as you say, a part of this small fraternity.
It is very, very special. I cannot wait to be there, and hopefully I get to see you and shake your hand. I guess lastly, as you tee up at Augusta for the last time, I guess the course has changed a little bit over the years, hasn't it? It's gotten longer, right? But it's still a challenging test.
Well, yes, they made it a lot longer. When Tiger came on and I was hitting driver, pitching wedge into some of these par fives, they knew it was time to do something. And people hit the ball so far now, it's ridiculous. So they had to do something, and they did. They brought rough in, which they never had rough in the 80s and 90s. They introduced that. They planted 5,000 trees, I think, to make like hole 11 is much tighter. It used to be the widest fairway almost anywhere. Now it's pretty tight fairway to hit. And yeah, they lengthened a lot. You know, the course is now playing, I think, 75-50. It used to be 7,000 or less in the 80s, I believe. So it has changed dramatically. Holes like 11 and 5 and many others, 7, I think, got lengthened by 72 yards or something like that. So very different for what it used to be. But their argument is we want the modern players to hit the same second shot irons into the green as 50 years ago. So if Jack Nicklaus in his heyday was hitting wedges and 9-irons, some of the longest players right now are hitting wedges and 9-irons or 8-irons into some of the same holes.
I'm fascinated by the Masters, obviously, for a lot of reasons, as we all are, and I just can't wait for it to get here. Bernhard, thank you so much, sir. Good luck at the Gallery Classic. Mission Hills Country Club, one of my favorite spots. Absolutely gorgeous place.
It sure is. Nice talking to you, Doc. All the best, and I'll see you at Augusta.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bernhard.
Take care. You're welcome.